All right, guys. So this video I want to talk about is race in sports. Race in sports. A lot of times people will talk and they talk about athletics. Like some people are, some cultures are better at athletics than others, and they talk about this dominant black gene and things like that, and it creates a lot of stereotyping, and I think that that's not true. You know what I mean? Like I don't think that it's true at all. What I do think is, some people cultures do certain things, and so they take part in certain things, and so sometimes people get better at certain things than others, and I also think that hard work actually pays off, and you'll see a lot of athletes who come out of poor situations, especially in America. A lot of your poor people are going to be athletes, and that the whole myth of the dominant black athlete, I don't think that that is true. What I think is that some people have better genetics than others, and some people try really, really hard than others because you can see it in the way things are actually played out as far as that. One of the big myths is that black people tend to jump higher. And that's particularly not true. That's definitely not true. All you have to do is look at the high jump champions in the Olympics, and you'll see that the majority of them are Caucasian. Majority, I think 6 out of the last 10, even the top 10 of the last Olympics were Caucasian. I think before that was like 3, and then 2 Olympics ago, I think it was maybe 1 male, right? And so you would say, well, where are these white guys coming from? You know what I mean? Like, I think what it is that you look at basketball and you see guys jumping, and football and you see guys hopping over, things. And those guys are athletic in their own right. And some people try to tie one to another. When they say, well, what about all the black guys in the NBA? Well, my question is this. Go to any basketball court in America and count how many people are there, and then count the race of each people. You're going to have some mixed race people. You may have some Hispanic people, but the majority of people are going to be there black. Go to the courts that are open 24 hours. Look at the court. See how many people are there. And then do the same dividing. They're going to be black. So culturally, basketball is ingrained in black culture, especially in the inner cities. A lot of people like to play basketball. It's a fun sport, and some people take it serious. In the black culture, it's taken extremely serious. Fist fights happen on the basketball court. Shootouts happen on the basketball court. It's a sense of pride and esteem. That's the reason why those runs, those pro-am games in LA are so big, because people take it so serious. And so what happens is, more people you have play the sport, obviously the more number of people who rise up to the top, right? They take it very, very serious. So you look at the NBA, you see a whole bunch of people that are in the NBA, and say, oh, all these black guys in the NBA. Well, it's because all those black guys play that sport. And some people, if you look at the black guys, some of them have come from middle class, upper middle class backgrounds, but a lot of them don't. And so a lot of them use athletics to get scholarships because they want to be able to further their careers and further themselves. And that's where you see a lot of people come into the game. You look at running, for instance. Africans, they tend to dominate running. Ethiopia, Kenya, Botswana, things like that. The countries like that, they tend to dominate running. Well, what do? The kids there, right? They live in a really high elevation, right? So that helps you. That helps your lungs. And a lot of people don't have cars. They're kind of poor. They run to different places. They tend to run really far. They run really well. They do a whole bunch of things. They end up going to the Olympics. They end up running. A trainer comes with a training program. Hey, you guys can run because you guys, that's all you do. We'll put you through this. Bring them in and put you in a race, and you outrun everybody. And that's what happens. It's not just because of their skin color or anything like that. You go to the Philippines, right? A lot of people don't understand. Underwater deep diving is a sport, right? And there's a sport that's held in Europe where people go underwater. They try to see how far they can go underwater before they have to go back up on one breath. And the guy, a world champion, back-to-back world champion, went to a fisher town in the Philippines, and some people were diving to go get their own fish. And he saw a kid dive down there and stay down there for like 3 minutes, come back up. Maybe a 12 or 13-year-old. Then he realized the whole town could do it, right? And they were going so far down in the water that they were breaking his world record. And he was amazed by it. But what he didn't realize is that they do it for a living, right? This is what they do. They grow up doing this. So it's not just because they're Filipino and they just have this lung capacity that's just so much different than everybody else, but they try at it more. And so they have better skill at it and they become better at it than you because you don't try more. And so a lot of times people use race in sports as a trope. It's a trope to signify something that you can't work as hard as him because or you can work as hard as him, but you're still not going to get as far. And I would say to that, no. You look at the top players in any top profession, and you'll see that these guys are highly athletic, but they're highly skilled, and they're mixed race. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people are like, it's a mix. It's not the same. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to tell me Gronkowski is not as athletic as, let's say, Odell Beckham Jr. Yeah, they're two different people and they have two different skill sets. One's 6'6", 250, 60 pounds, and the other one's 5'10", 165 pounds, but they both are athletic. You know what I mean? Like, and they both use their genetics to dominate in their particular profession, right? You know, Kevin Love, he's athletic. I mean, he's not a jumper or anything like that, but you got to be athletic to be in the league and things like that. And there are a lot of black people in the league that aren't jumpers, right? Some are, but a lot aren't. There are a lot of black guys in the league that aren't jumpers. I mean, look at Andre Miller. He could barely dunk, and he was an NBA player, and he could barely dunk at 6'3". He could barely dunk. So, you know, you can't really go by that. And I see it a lot, and I hear Jimmy the Greek has said it about slavery and things like that. That, anybody that studies genetics knows that, genetics change. It takes about 10,000 years for people's genetics to change. So that whole slavery myth, top breeds breeding with top breeds, that's not that has nothing to do. That's just a uneducated statement. It's definitely an uneducated statement that has grown for a long time. People have taken it and ran with it, but that's not true. You know what I mean? That's not true. Those black people were strong and big before slavery came, and people didn't make a mass race of this and that. No, that's not how it happens. You know what I mean? Like, people work out, people get big, genetically people get big, but those genetics took place 10,000 years ago. You know what I mean? They had those genetics 10,000 years ago, and they just ended up having sex with each other. It is what it is, and they make babies. But, let me know what you think about it, because I know a lot of black people believe it. They believe that just because they black, they fast or some shit like that, and they have the speed. But what they don't understand is they play the game much more aggressive than everybody else. So they tend to run faster, so they tend to be faster. But in any event where everybody's running just as fast, you're going to see the top people win at an even rate. And the hardest workers are going to be the top people. Because if you look at LeBron, you look at Jordan, you look at all the top athletes in their respective sports, they're the hardest worker. Hardest worker by far. I never heard somebody say Tom Brady was lazy. You've never heard it. You would, if somebody came out and said Tom Brady's a lazy athlete and he doesn't really have to work that hard, he just automatically knows plays, you would say to yourself, no. You know what I mean? Like, not true. Granted, can he run and jump high? No, probably not. You know what I mean? Like, but that's just naturally. That's just naturally. But there are white guys that can do it. You know what I mean? Like, but, the amount of will and intestinal fortitude that it takes to be great at that particular venture is kind of different. Some people tend to change it, but I don't think that I don't think that race has anything to do with athletic ability. You either are athletic or you're not, and from there you just are. Some people have a gift. Some people work on their gifts and get better at their gifts. But to say that it's race, no. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not like that. But let me know what y'all think in the comment section. We'll go from there. Peace.